Principle 6. Impermanence Anicca. One of the most profound teachings in Buddhism is the concept of impermanence, known as anicca in Pali. This principle emphasizes that everything in life, whether material possessions, relationships, emotions, or even our physical bodies, is subject to change. Nothing remains constant, and everything is in a state of flux. Understanding impermanence is key to achieving inner peace because it allows us to approach life with acceptance and detachment. When we cling to things or people as though they will last forever, we set ourselves up for suffering when they inevitably change or disappear. The Buddha said, "All conditioned things are impermanent. When one sees this with wisdom, one turns away from suffering." This doesn't mean that we should become indifferent or apathetic to life's joys and relationships. Instead, it means that we should appreciate them fully in the present moment, without becoming attached to the idea that they will last forever. By recognizing that everything is temporary, we can embrace each experience with a sense of gratitude and non-attachment. For example, consider a beautiful flower in bloom. If we cling to the idea that the flower will always remain in its perfect state, we will feel disappointed and saddened when it begins to wither. However, if we appreciate the flower's beauty while acknowledging its impermanence, we can enjoy it without suffering when it eventually fades. The same applies to our relationships, achievements, and even our physical health. Impermanence also applies to our emotions. Just as positive experiences and emotions come and go, so too do negative ones. When we are experiencing pain, sadness, or frustration, it can be comforting to remember that these emotions are not permanent. They will pass, just as everything else in life passes. This understanding can help us avoid becoming overwhelmed by difficult emotions, knowing that they are temporary states of being. In addition, the recognition of impermanence encourages us to live more mindfully and fully in the present moment. Since we cannot hold on to the past or control the future, the only time we truly have is the present. By embracing the present moment and letting go of attachment to outcomes, we free ourselves from much of the anxiety and stress that comes from trying to control what is beyond our power. In practice, reflecting on impermanence can help us navigate life's challenges with greater ease. When faced with loss, disappointment, or change, we can remind ourselves that everything in life is transient. This awareness allows us to accept change with grace and resilience rather than resisting it or becoming attached to things staying the same. Ultimately, the principle of impermanence teaches us to flow with life rather than fight against it. By embracing change as a natural part of existence, we cultivate a sense of peace that is not dependent on external circumstances, but grounded in the understanding that all things are temporary. Principle 7. Compassion for all beings. Compassion, or karuna, is at the heart of Buddhist teachings. It is the desire to alleviate the suffering of all beings, recognizing that we are all interconnected and that the happiness and well-being of others are inseparable from our own. The Buddha taught, "In separateness lies the world's greatest misery, and compassion lies the world's true strength." To cultivate compassion is to see the common humanity in everyone, regardless of their actions, status, or background. This does not mean condoning harmful behavior, but rather understanding that those who cause harm are often suffering themselves. By responding to others with compassion, we break the cycle of anger, resentment, and retaliation, and instead contribute to healing and peace. Compassion is not limited to human beings, it extends to all living creatures. In Buddhist practice, this is known as metta, or loving kindness, which involves developing a sense of universal love and goodwill toward all beings, without distinction. The Buddha encouraged his followers to extend metta to all sentient beings, saying, "May all beings be happy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be without disease. May all beings experience the sensation of well-being." In daily life, practicing compassion means responding to others with kindness, empathy, and understanding. When someone is rude or hurtful, instead of reacting with anger or judgment, we can ask ourselves, what pain or suffering might this person be experiencing? By recognizing that others' actions often stem from their own struggles, we open the door to forgiveness and compassion. Compassion also involves being present for others in their times of need, offering support and kindness without expecting anything in return. Whether through small acts of kindness or more significant efforts to alleviate suffering, practicing compassion helps us connect with others on a deeper level and fosters a sense of interconnectedness. Moreover, compassion extends to ourselves. Self-compassion is an essential part of the Buddhist path, as it allows us to treat ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we offer to others. Often we are our own harshest critics, and self-compassion teaches us to be gentle with ourselves, recognizing that we, too, are deserving of love and care. When we cultivate compassion, we contribute to a more peaceful and harmonious world. By alleviating the suffering of others, we also alleviate our own, as we are all interconnected. Compassion transforms not only our relationships with others but also our relationship with ourselves, creating a foundation for inner peace and contentment. Principle 8. Mindfulness Sati. Mindfulness, or sati, is one of the most well-known Buddhist principles, and it is central to the practice of cultivating inner peace. Mindfulness involves paying full attention to the present moment without judgment or distraction. It is the practice of being fully aware of our thoughts, feelings, and surroundings rather than becoming lost in worries about the past or future. The Buddha taught, mindfulness is the path to the deathless, heedlessness is the path to death. The mindful do not die, the heedless are as if already dead. This teaching emphasizes the transformative power of mindfulness in awakening us to the present moment and freeing us from the constant chatter of the mind. In daily life, mindfulness can be practiced in many ways. Whether we are eating, walking, working, or interacting with others, mindfulness invites us to bring our full attention to the present activity. Instead of multitasking or allowing our minds to wander, we focus on the task at hand, fully experiencing the sensations, thoughts, and emotions that arise. For example, when eating a meal, mindfulness involves savoring each bite, noticing the flavors, textures, and sensations of the food, and being fully present in the act of eating. This contrasts with mindless eating, where we might rush through a meal while distracted by our phones, thoughts, or conversations. Mindfulness also involves observing our thoughts and emotions without becoming attached to them. When we practice mindfulness, we learn to witness our mental and emotional states without judgment, recognizing that thoughts and feelings are temporary and do not define us. This allows us to respond to life's challenges with greater clarity and calm rather than being swept away by reactive emotions. Mindfulness is closely linked to meditation, but it can be practiced throughout the day, not just during formal meditation sessions. By cultivating mindfulness, we become more attuned to our inner experiences and more aware of how we respond to the world around us. This heightened awareness helps us break free from habitual patterns of thinking and behavior, allowing us to live more intentionally and peacefully. In addition to its benefits for mental and emotional well-being, mindfulness also fosters compassion and empathy. When we are fully present with others, we listen more deeply, connect more authentically, and respond with greater kindness. Mindfulness helps us see the humanity in others, just as it helps us see our own inner landscape with greater clarity. Ultimately, mindfulness is a path to inner peace because it grounds us in the present moment, where we can experience life fully and without attachment. It frees us from the suffering that comes from being lost in past regrets or future anxieties, allowing us to live with greater ease, contentment, and joy. Principle 9. The Middle Way. The Middle Way is a central teaching in Buddhism, emphasizing the importance of balance and moderation in all aspects of life. It is the path between extremes, whether those extremes are indulgence and asceticism, attachment and aversion, or pleasure and pain. The Buddha himself discovered the middle way after years of practicing both extreme luxury and extreme asceticism, realizing that neither path led to true liberation. The middle way teaches us that inner peace is found not by swinging between extremes but by maintaining balance in our thoughts, actions, and emotions. It encourages us to avoid rigid or dogmatic approaches to life and instead adopt a flexible, open-minded attitude that allows for both discipline and compassion. In practice, the middle way can be applied to many areas of life. For example, in our work, we might strive for a balance between ambition and contentment, recognizing that while it's important to set goals and strive for success, we should also appreciate what we have in the present moment. Similarly, in our relationships, we might seek a balance between independence and connection, allowing ourselves to be close to others without losing our sense of self. The middle way also applies to our spiritual practice. Rather than becoming overly attached to rituals, rules, or dogma, we are encouraged to cultivate a flexible approach that allows for personal growth and adaptation. The Buddha warned against becoming too rigid in our beliefs or practices, reminding his followers that the ultimate goal is not to follow rules for the sake of following them, but to cultivate inner peace and enlightenment. By following the middle way, we avoid the pitfalls of extremism and cultivate a more harmonious, balanced life. We recognize that true happiness and peace come not from pursuing pleasure or avoiding pain, but from maintaining a sense of equanimity in the face of both. This balanced approach helps us navigate life's challenges with greater ease and wisdom, allowing us to experience more peace and contentment. Conclusion: the path to inner peace. The teachings of Buddhism offer a profound and practical guide to achieving inner peace. Through principles such as non-attachment, mindfulness, compassion, impermanence, and the middle way, we learn to cultivate a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. These principles help us navigate the inevitable challenges of life with greater clarity, resilience, and equanimity. By practicing these teachings in our daily lives, we can develop a more peaceful and harmonious relationship with ourselves and others. We learn to let go of attachment, respond to challenges with compassion, and cultivate mindfulness in every moment. As we deepen our understanding of impermanence and the interconnectedness of all beings, we find that inner peace is not something that can be achieved through external circumstances, but is cultivated from within. Ultimately, the path to inner peace is a journey of self-discovery and transformation. It is not a destination, but an ongoing process of growth, learning, and mindfulness. By embracing the principles of Buddhism, we can cultivate a sense of inner calm and contentment that sustains us through all of life's ups and downs. In doing so, we not only find peace within ourselves, but also contribute to the peace and well-being of the world around us.